Welcome, it's Jeremy Allen Gould. I'm coming to you today to confirm between God and of man that in fact the rumors that you have all heard are true. I started this podcast because I freaking love music. I was privileged enough to book amazing artists and bands in the past, and I was lucky enough to stay in touch with many of them to this day. This is a place to hear their stories. Thank you so much for riding along on this journey, and I hope you enjoy what you hear. With that said, the rumors are definitely true.
Pretty soon now I hope I find my voice. Not that I have much of a choice. 'Cause I've been searching high, I've been searching low. Try and find it, I guess it's still small. Listen to me, oh hallelujah. To all the people I know that prayed for me, for my safety, oh, hallelujah.
Thank you for tuning in to this latest episode of the Rumors Are True podcast. My name is Jeremy, and today I welcome my friend, Brandon Kinder. You know Brandon from the bands The Rocketboys and The Wealthy West. Awesome conversation with this prolific songwriter. So cool that he joined me on this podcast. I really hope you enjoy this latest episode with Brandon Kinder. Brandon, what is up, my friend? Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, man, it's great to finally get to talk to you.
Yeah, man. What's going on in your life currently? What's in your world?
Well, so glad you asked, Jeremy. I'm about to release a new record at the end of June. I'm not sure when this is going to come out, but June 21st it'll be out. Then I have started this other side project. I also have a 3-year-old, which is insane and awesome. So yeah, a lot of music, a lot of dirty underwear.
Totally can relate to that. That's awesome, man. That's you living in Austin again, correct?
Yeah. Moved back to Austin about 2 years ago. My wife and I moved to Memphis in 2017. And we had a COVID baby and then came back to Austin. My wife, she was in grad school. She just graduated, as a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago with a counseling master's in mental health.
That's so cool, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know Ty Garvey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he lives out in Memphis, or did at one point, from Joan Zeta.
Yeah, I don't think he's in Memphis anymore.
Yeah.
We hung out a little bit when he was good friends with some of my other Memphis friends.
That's rad.
Such a funny guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's great. Yeah, I was gonna say you and I kind of met actually in Austin and in Memphis, ironically. I was on tour with Sun Bears, and they got to play a show with you guys at Stubbs in Austin, which was really cool. And you guys were so awesome and rad. And then you guys have come through over the years to Jacksonville and played with, I think you would Need to Breathe one time, and maybe Underbelly. I don't know, so many different shows. And then my wife and I were driving through Memphis, and you happened to be living there, and so we went and saw John Paul White, which was so cool, at the Bandshell. That was amazing.
Yeah, Dude, that was awesome.
Yeah, man, it was just I always kind of thought you guys as a whole, the Rocketboys were such a underrated band, and so it was really cool to get to know you over the years. And then I got to press your record on vinyl, which was really freaking cool. Actually, 2 of them.
Yeah.
So
that's right. Thanks, man.
Yeah, dude. I for real, I love your stuff. Always have. I'm really stoked. I'm stoked that you're on the podcast, man. Let's see. Growing up, what bands and records and influences and shows kind of dictated your life? Maybe bring me through that time and maybe some of the first bands that you were in.
Yeah, so I remember I always have the same answers. There's 3 albums that kind of like changed my young life. How It Feels to Be Something On by Sunny Day, Downward is Heavenward by Hum, and Grace by Jeff Buckley. Those were the first time I had like ever heard music that wasn't on the radio, probably. Yeah. And it was this whole new experience. It was like really emotionally driven. It was like heavy or beautiful, I mean, there's all these things that I had like I was missing from my listening to what like Matchbox 20 and Goo Goo Dolls on the radio. But I was about to join this band, and they like gave me these CDs. They're like, you got to check these out. So I listened to them, and it was just like, oh my gosh, this is like incredible. I want to do music like this. I want to like make music like this. This is so impactful. And so I did. I joined this band that was just getting started called Dora. I don't think there was a name yet. I just played guitar in that band, and we played around Memphis a bunch. We did like maybe 1 or 2 very small tours that were like 3 shows in a row or something. I mean, I was in like high school when we started.
Yeah.
And somehow we got to record our debut and our one and only full length with Matt Talbot, who was the lead singer of Hum.
That's amazing.
So it was like this mind blowing, like full circle moment. I think I was 17 or 18.
Wow.
He's got this crazy studio. I got to play like through the same amps that he recorded Downward is Heavenward on, and It was super cool. And it was a great intro into just like the recording world, and what being in a band is like. And I just ate up every second of it. It just blew my mind. And then we had it mixed by this guy, Keith Cleversley.
Oh yeah.
Who
he
mixed a bunch of that stuff too. Awesome guy. So I just got like thrown into like real band life pretty early. It was awesome.
That's incredible, man. Yeah, Keith, he did the Morellis Forest records, some of them, and I just had Sean from Morellis Forest on. He talked about how cool it was to work with him too. That's amazing. What a first foray into it. I mean, like, good Lord, Matt Talbot and Keith, like that's like a dream for most bands in that genre. I mean, like, can you imagine?
I know, it was insane. Yeah.
How did you get them on board? Did you wind up just, emailing them or calling them or?
Yeah, I think we just paid them money, and they were like, sure. But also, I have to admit, like, that band was really good for being a really young band. We were very cool. And I don't want to like toot my own horn. It was all of us. It wasn't me or anything. But I think they could like tell like we weren't just some like rinky-dink little high school band.
Yeah. Is that on
So, yeah.
Is that on Spotify or Bandcamp or anything? I would love to hear it.
We actually just put our EP and our full length on Spotify this year. Because we recorded in like 2001 or 2000 or something. So obviously there wasn't Spotify when we were around. But yeah, we just put it up this year just for kicks, and no one listens to it, so you could be the first.
Yes, I absolutely will. I mean, the fact that both those guys worked on that is like an incentive already. You know, it's like, whoa, this obviously going to be good.
It's called Dead Horse Lounge because there was a little bar next door to the studio called Dead Horse Lounge, and
that's cool.
It's like, I think you'll be impressed.
Cool. I'm psyched, man. Psyched to hear that. So what kind of ended that band, and maybe did that start, kind of the Rocketboys start after that? Is it kind of how that happened?
Yeah. So I started that band when I was like 15 or 16. And then I just went to college, basically, is what, like, we were kind of like done-ish, you know, like it wasn't going anywhere. I went to college in Abilene, Texas, from Memphis, where I grew up. And I was kind of like, I was like, oh, I'm done with music. I'm just going to like study and do whatever. But then I met this guy that was also like in a high school band, and we just like bonded, and then we just kept meeting cool people, and we played a show in 2003. That the first semester I was out there, and the rest is history. People liked it, and so did we, and we just kept going. Released a bunch of music.
That's awesome, man. So, when you started, obviously, you said you started playing shows. Was it a full band, or like how did that kind of materialize? And then maybe let's start to talk about your first full. I guess you did some EPs before the first full length. Is that correct?
So the very first show, it was me on an acoustic guitar, Mitch Holtz on electric guitar, this guy named Daniel Wheeler on a Casio keyboard and a djembe, and this guy Scott Deloney on cello. And we were at that time we were called Homer Hickam and the Rocketboys.
Oh yeah.
And we did a couple EPs under that name. But then we didn't like think about how hard it would be for people to spell, or how long it would be on a T-shirt or a sign outside of a venue. So we were always like, maybe we should change it. So when we did our first full length in 2009 called 20,000 Ghosts, we shortened it to the Rocketboys, and that's, I think you knew us only as the Rocketboys.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we loved playing music, and I think because we were in Abilene, Texas, which is a really small town in West Texas, we just had to, if we wanted to play shows, we had to think bigger. So we just started touring out of necessity because we loved making music together. We didn't know what the heck we were doing, but we just, like, Dallas is only a couple hours away. Let's go play there. Lubbock is only a couple hours away. And so we just like started being a band in that sense, just because we had to, if we wanted to play shows. We didn't know anything about touring or recording or any of that, but and we just kept doing it, and people kept coming out to our shows, and we loved every second of it.
Hey, this is Aaron Sprinkle, and you're listening to the Rumors Are True podcast.
Hey everyone, I want to tell you about Steadfast Records. If you're a fan of emo, hardcore, indie rock, punk, you need to check out Steadfast Records. It's an online treasure trove of vinyl gems. They've got everything from classics to the latest releases, all meticulously curated. So if you're looking to expand your collection or discover your new favorite band, head on over to steadfastrecords.net and use the code RUMORS to save 10% on your next order. Trust me, your turntable, it'll freaking love you. That's steadfastrecords.net. Pre-order items excluded from discount.
So yeah, and then 2009, we recorded with Louis Lino from Not a Surf.
Wow.
And he's a guy. He's in Austin. And I think he had done a couple Matt Pond PA records.
Yeah.
That we were, even though like that is nothing like the Rocketboys, we all loved those records, and among other things that he had done. But that was kind of what like really drew us in to working with him. And he was awesome, and recording that record was super special for sure.
That's so cool. Yeah, let's talk about that. That's a 20,000 Ghosts. Maybe looking back on it, obviously you mentioned Louis from Not a Surf. What an awesome, amazing opportunity as well. Like, what are your thoughts looking back on that record? I know it's probably early on in you guys' career, but how do you feel about it looking back on it?
I mean, I love it. There's kind of like the Rocketboys have gone through so many different like permutations, and that was the last record that we did that had like all the OG guys in the band. So I definitely looked at that one super fondly. It was also kind of like a lot of great things happened because of the existence of that album. Like we got a great manager, we got a bunch of stuff on TV from it. That's when we started to like get some great tours, and that's a great era of the Rocketboys.
Who were you touring with of that? What you mentioned, great tours. Who was kind of on that?
Yeah, well, I think we met this band. We used to play Cornerstone. I'm sure you probably are familiar with that music festival.
Yeah.
And we met this band up there that was from South Texas called Dignan.
Oh yeah.
And we toured with them a ton, and it was just like a match made in heaven. And so that they were already touring a lot, and so they kind of like helped get us further out. And yeah, it was like a whole nother thing once we started touring with them. That's when we started. Around then is also when we started touring like full time. And like really trying to do the thing. So yeah, that was a great time for sure.
When you mentioned having a manager involved, was there any big label interest or anything like that for that record, or any at that point?
Oh, there was never. There was very rarely any label interest in the Rocketboys.
That's so random. I mean, I find that shocking, honestly. Like, having been a fan, it's like I feel like you definitely could have been on many, labels. That's bizarre to me.
I think we also we didn't know anything. We were just trying to have a good time playing music.
Sure.
And meet cool people, We weren't always the most business savvy. So there was like I forget what they were called, some pretty big Christian label that showed some interest and flew us out to Nashville and wined and dined us a little bit, but we weren't trying to go that route.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, man, I wonder if we probably could have done a lot more cool stuff. That was a big thing. We didn't want to pigeonhole ourselves or whatever,
Sure. No, I get that. And then you probably did the right thing, and hindsight's 20/20, obviously. So, the older you get, you're like, what could have been? But I mean, I think the records turned out great the way they are. So I don't think there's any shame in that. Let's talk about the next record, Build Anyway. Looking back on that, thoughts looking on that, and obviously a progression from the first record. Maybe talk about that record.
Yeah. So that record was kind of us saying we're still here, because we 3 out of the 6 original members quit the year before. We had been touring a lot. We wanted to focus on family, career, stuff like that. No,
sure.
It's no biggie now. But at the time we were like, well, shoot, man. We were like, what are we going to do? Should we even be a band anymore? Is it worth trying to continue? So me, Justin Wiseman, and Josh Campbell just kind of met up, and we're like, well, yeah, we can still be a band. Let's just figure out how to do it. And so this one we recorded ourselves, just at our house. And we had a friend come and do drums. and then me, Justin, and Josh just did everything else. And it was a lot of that album is like a breakup, depressing album. Even if, like, by the time I was done writing it, like, I didn't have those feelings anymore, but it was kind of I had to kind of dig into the feelings that I used to have, and then by the end, we're kind of, everybody's cool with each other again. Cause there was definitely some hurt and frustration with those guys at the time.
Sure.
But we made the album just kind of to say that we still could. And then that album, like, people really liked it too. And we're like, okay, so maybe we can still be a band. And that was in 2012, I think. So yeah.
What was the touring like after that record? Do you remember at all who you kind of, did the shows getting bigger at all, and maybe the tours getting bigger?
No, they didn't. They stayed exactly the same. I remember we toured with this band Dear Future a lot. We still were touring with Dignan some back then, I think. We did a bunch of just random tours. Like, we did a tour with Bearcat. There was, I might have to tell you more about that one off the record. But yeah, it was, we're still, like, doing it, as much as we could. So
yeah,
it felt great to still be alive,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and after that record, obviously you put out The Great Outdoors, which we got to put out on vinyl, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that's right.
Really cool. So maybe your thoughts on that record, looking back on that, and how you feel about it, and kind of the the progression of that record.
Yeah, so The Great Outdoors, it's like an acoustic record of older songs, and it came about because we did this thing. There's this thing called the Rock Boat. You're maybe familiar with that. It's just like 30 or 40 bands doing like a nonstop music festival on a cruise, and that's where we initially met Need to Breathe, that you mentioned earlier. A lot of cool bands, but there's this place on the back of the boat called The Great Outdoors, and they do like acoustic versions of sets back there. And we got booked to do like all of our regular shows. Everybody does like 4 or 5 shows probably.
Yeah.
And then we also got booked to do The Great Outdoors. And I think we didn't realize what that meant at the time. We just figured it was another stage. So like, I think that morning we discover that it's supposed to be an acoustic set, which at that point we had not done very many of. So we were just like, okay, let's just like wing it. And it ended up being awesome. And so when we got back, we were like, we should just do like a record that's just like that. Everybody gets like one take. It's all like, we're not going to add a lot of bells and whistles. And so we did that. We also recorded and mixed that one ourselves. And it turned out awesome. And everybody, actually the picture, the album cover was a photo that I took while driving up a mountain on my honeymoon.
Wow.
Random little factoid there.
That's cool. That's awesome. How did you guys get booked on that rock boat? Like, how did that kind of materialize?
I think we had a number of friends that had done it. And then I think we just asked our booking agent at the time to look into it. And we got some good recommendations. I can't remember. Do you remember this band Death on Two Wheels?
I remember the name, yeah.
Yeah. Well, our buddy, that was another band that we toured with in that era. The Build Anyway era. And they had their singer Trey went on to work for Sixth Man, who puts on the Rock Boat. But I don't think he was quite there yet. I don't know. But yeah, we just, word of mouth agent, something like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And you said Need to Breathe is on. Who else was on that?
It's like a bunch of like. There's Switchfoot was on it. It
Oh wow.
kind of has this like mild, like it's not a Christian thing, but there's definitely some of those like.
Faith-based
Are they
bands. Yeah.
or aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Colony House was on it. Sister Hazel started the rock boat
Oh,
like
okay.
25 years ago or something. So there's always like a couple 90s band, Vertical Horizon,
Yeah.
Colony House, The New Respects.
That sounds
Yeah,
awesome.
there's a ton of band. Yeah, it's super fun. And the people, we always heard this in advance, but it's so true. The people on the rock boat are like the best, most loving fans, and they will like support you for life if you get on it. So I remember the tour before our first rock boat. There was already people from the rock boat like coming out to check us out.
That's cool. That's
So
amazing.
yeah, it's a really cool, unique experience for sure.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
So obviously, that record comes out, are you still kind of feeling, are you starting to kind of feel the effects of, should we continue? Is that kind of in your mindset, or are you still kind of hitting the gas full force?
Well, I think like whenever you're like a touring band that's not super crazy successful, you're always asking yourself that question. Should we continue? But still at that point we were still fully on board. Yeah, we were still doing it, trying to make it happen for sure.
So you start to work on the Certain Circles record, which we got to press on vinyl as well, which was really cool. Let's talk about that record. And that's the last output you guys have had. Am I correct?
Full length wise, yeah, we did another EP after that. And yeah, Certain Circles, that was like because I think that was the longest amount of time between releases for us too. Things were definitely slowing down release wise. We had done an EP with Joe Ciccarelli. That was our only label thing, was with this label called Black Magnetic. We did an EP. And one of the songs on it was actually on the show Glee.
Oh, cool.
And amazing. Yeah, we definitely got some mileage out of that one. And then, Certain Circles, it was just kind of like, we were done with that label, and we were like, we can do whatever we want. We can go back to writing like longer, more interesting songs. We're not trying to be like a pop band anymore. Like let's get back to like who we really think we are, and just get weird with it for weirdness sake almost. But still, being true to ourselves. I think that record, the main thing was like this is who we are and who we want to be. And so that was kind of like the crux and the focus of that one for me anyway.
Yeah. Well, did you wind up touring with that? Was that when the Need to Breathe tour was? Was that about that time?
Yes. Yeah. So that tour, that was after Certain Circles came out for sure.
That was an awesome tour.
Yeah, it was incredible. Like we had never done anything like that. It was all you went to the show in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
It was all freaking stadiums and like minimum of 10,000 people. It was wild. And I told my partner afterwards, I was like, I never felt more like I was doing what I was supposed to do. Like it was never scary. It was always just like, I felt like so perfectly in tune with myself on that tour. It was really awesome.
Yeah, man, it was incredible. Seeing it from the fan perspective, I think you guys fit it really well. Did you see an uptick in people liking your band after that, or is it kind of, how was that?
Well, so okay, I'm glad. That's a great question to ask, because we were kind of slowing down at that point. But then they asked us to tour with them, and we're like, we'll do this tour. But we didn't have anything to follow it up with. And so, I'm sure there was some people that like liked us because of that tour, but we didn't really offer them anything else. That was, I mean, like you said, that was basically the last thing that we did. Last thing that we like promoted heavily, toured on. The other EP that we did was mostly me and Justin were doing some like European tours, and that was just to give us something new to sell over in Europe. And it was really cool. I mean, that was also a whole another experience. But yeah, we that was kind of like the band was not ending because we still like played since then, but the band was definitely like taking a hiatus, and then Need to Breathe asked us to play. So we're like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. But sorry, we don't have anything else to give you.
What's you mentioned, kind of winding down. What was in that thought process, and did you start to kind of, was it starting to kind of writing on the wall type stuff, or was it like, what, I guess, why are we in this, or why did you wind down, I guess I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we had some children in the mix now. Justin had one or two kids at the time. I had actually moved to Memphis with Claire. So yeah, I think we were just, we've been doing it for so long at that point. I mean, since 2003, and this was 2019, and we're just, what else is out there for us? What can we do? Should we still be doing this, or should we focus more on, our families and actually making money somehow,
No, I get it.
So
what's up? Let me ask you, Rocketboys wise, what are you most proud of? What song and what record are you most proud of?
Oh, wow. You know what? Other than, they're all, how can you say who your favorite child is and that sort of thing? I think Certain Circles is the album I'm most proud of, because it felt the most, other than 20,000 Ghosts, it felt the most like authentic. There was no outside influences trying to push us in any way, which, I mean, maybe that's why nobody cared about it, and that's why we quit being a band. But yeah, I love that album so much. It has like everything in it that I wanted from the Rocketboys, I think. And then favorite song, I don't know.
Or maybe one that means the most to you, I guess. Maybe that's a better way to say it.
Yeah, I think the answer that I would say without really thinking about it is the song called The Best from Build Anyway.
Yeah.
That song, it was the last song on the record. It was the last song we wrote for that record. And it was basically, I mentioned that album was like about being pissed off at all the guys that quit the band. And that song was just kind of like saying, hey, but we're cool. You'll always be like family. You're always going to be my brother.
That's cool.
And so that song, we've probably ended most of our concerts with that song. It's been a really special one for sure.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's exciting. I mean, do you miss, I know you said you've done a couple little tours here and there, but do you miss that part of it, or are you just, I mean, Wealthy West, obviously you're doing that. I kind of wanted to tail into that, but I mean, do you miss the Rocketboys essentially?
Yeah, I miss like the great moments of it for sure. Like, if it made sense, I would totally do a tour again for sure. And there's talk of like, me and Justin always talk about doing like another record, even if it's just to put out and not tour or do anything. Like, I would still be super interested in that.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
And you might have to press it.
Well, they closed down, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry for bringing it up.
No, it's okay. I actually haven't been there for a couple years, but they just closed down 5 months ago.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know the whole ins and outs of it, but yeah, they definitely. I left after a year or two because I needed to make money too, and not that there was no,
Yeah.
love those guys dearly too, and I just think it was just kind of ran its course, unfortunately. I think in terms of viability and all that. So anyway, no, I will not be doing that, but that would be cool if you put a record. Let's talk about Wealthy West, man. Yeah, man, you've got so many EPs and full lengths, and let's just kind of bring me through the synopsis of the Wealthy West, and kind of maybe bring me through that discography.
Yeah, so the Wealthy West, it was basically, I was writing a bunch of music at the time. This probably 2010, 11 or so. Is writing all the time, nonstop. So like for the Rocketboys, and then also all this other stuff. And I would always send it to my manager, whatever it was, because I can record it myself. And he was constantly being like, you should do something with all this stuff. Like it doesn't make sense to do it with the Rocketboys, but there's some really good stuff here. And I was always like, no, I just want to focus on the Rocketboys. This is just like something for fun. Just getting something out, you know. But then finally, I think in 2011, he was like, you know, for the last time, he was like, hey, I really think you should do stuff with this music. It's really cool. I was like, no, I don't want to. And he was like, well, just so you know, like 3 of the songs got picked up by this TV show, and Pace Magazine wants you to play at their South by Southwest party. And so I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And he was like, you got to have a name. Or we talked about, should it be just Brandon Kinder or a name? We both kind of thought a name would be better. And my friends, so go back to that first band, Dora. They had almost started a band called the Wealthy West, but they never actually did. And I always thought that was the coolest band name.
It's a great name.
So I called my buddy, and I was like, hey, are y'all ever gonna do anything with that band? And they're like, oh no, we're like 3 bands past that one at this point. And so I was like, can I have it? And so I did. And yeah, the first thing came out in 2011. And I think also at that time that was when everybody was quitting the Rocketboys. So I think that was part of why I was like, okay, maybe like I should like have this other thing just in case.
Sure.
Or I don't know. I don't know if I ever felt like it was a just in case thing, but that was kind of the timeline. So I think that opened me up to releasing something a little bit more. And then, yeah, I released the first one. I got a ton of stuff on syncs with TV and movies.
Amazing.
And then I did a tour with this guy, David Ramirez.
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of like both of our like first tour, just like totally solo like that, I think. And it was so awesome. And it was like maybe 2 weeks or so. And I was like, yeah, Wealthy West is cool. Maybe I'll like keep it up, keep it in the back pocket. So yeah, I've just always kind of dabbled. It was always a side project for the most part. And then but people kept responding to it, which kept me like interested, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I think it's fantastic. It's different, obviously, like you mentioned, from Rocketboys, but you know, you have a penchant for writing these songs that, you know, a lot of people connect to, and that, you know, are, like I said, different, but you know, I know it's you. I know it's you. Like I don't mean that wrong. Well, bring me through your full lengths with Wealthy West. Maybe kind of talk about those and yeah, your thoughts on those.
Yeah. So the Wealthy West was always kind of just this side project that happened to do really well in the film and television world. And so it was kind of the thing that let me make money and play with the Rocketboys.
That's smart, man.
Which was awesome. And so I released another album. The first full length was called Long Play, which, as you know, is what LP stands for. And it was just, a lot of the songs that were written around the time of Build Anyway. So it was a lot of just like who am I sorts of songs, like what do I want to have a legacy? What do I want my legacy to be? Songs like that. And I recorded it all in my guest bedroom. And it just so happened that my neighbor across the street was the CNC rep for Austin. So he let me borrow this like incredible drum set to record. And my buddy Josh Rogers, who was playing with the Rocketboys at the time, recorded drums on it. But the Wealthy West was always this thing that was mostly me, and I would just get people to play the instruments that I was really bad at. Otherwise, I would just try to make it through. But yeah, that one opened a lot of doors for me as well. It was like, this is so random, but iTunes was still around at the time. And it was like voted one of the like top 10 singer-songwriter albums on iTunes that year. Like it was like so crazy.
That's bizarre. That's amazing.
Yeah. It was wild. And so that of course was like, yeah, maybe there is something to this Wealthy West thing. And it was just cool to get to stretch like different muscles, like that was, I love making music in all kinds, and so it was cool to get to try different things and take a simpler approach, or and then I haven't done a lot of touring with the Wealthy West. I've just played like some shows here and there, but then after that came The Right Regrets, and that one I think I released it after moving to Memphis, but it was songs that I was writing in the interim, and it was a lot of stuff. I think I just like kind of the not that the Rocketboys is definitely over, but it was ending for sure. We haven't technically broken up or anything. But like there was a lot of identity issues. I was really depressed for several years. Just didn't know like who I was anymore, or what I could be, or what I wanted to be. And so a lot of those songs, I think I'm always, that's funny now that I'm saying it, I think I'm always asking, who am I? It's just like whether I'm super depressed about it or whether I'm not super depressed about it. And so this one was I am super depressed about it. Who am I? And that one also like did really well. I recorded it myself. But this time I recorded the drums in a studio in Memphis. Because I wanted to like up it a little bit. I knew like I'm not an engineer. I'm just a guy that is okay at stuff. And I knew like I could get the drums to sound a lot better if I did it elsewhere. It was fun. And then I like met this group of guys in Memphis who wanted to play with me, and it was so awesome. And they were like incredible. And then COVID happened, and so we couldn't really do anything anymore. But we started recording some new stuff. I wanted to do it all together, like a proper band recording, but because of COVID, we just kind of had to. I would invite like one of them over to the house. We recorded it at a time, and that's when I started working with Jeremy Griffith.
Jeremy.
He mixed a bunch of stuff. Chad Pearson. You had him on not long ago.
Love Chad. Were you on Himalayan or something like that?
Yeah. So he and I go way back. We had never worked together until this new Wealthy West stuff. And he kind of like brought me out of the funk a little bit and was like, you gotta like, let's do something together, man. I know you got some great songs. I mean, I would send him songs from time to time too. Just cause he's such a great pump up guy.
Yeah. He's awesome. He's a cheerleader.
Yeah. So we worked together on some stuff, and Jeremy mixed it. Jonathan mastered a bunch of it.
Yeah.
And it was great. It's like, and it's kind of funny. Like, so that stuff since I knew Jeremy was going to be working on it, I took a lot more chances. So the whole time, like Way West is kind of like slowly going back towards like some of the epicness of the Rocketboys. And I think because I had let somebody else handle making it sound good, I took some bigger swings. And then that was like, I think we released together, and then I just was like, I don't know, I wasn't, there's things going on to really focus on it, and so I had to kind of take a step back. But then lately I was like, hey, I'm just gonna do it. I have all these great songs, and so that's why I have this new record coming out called Three Little Pictures. And so it's a lot of the stuff. Jeremy mixed some of it. My buddy Lang, who played guitar for the Rocketboys, mixed some of it. I mixed some of it. It's just all this stuff that I've been working on. And I was finally like, I need to just put this out there so I can move on and start being myself again.
Yeah.
Because I was feeling too precious with it. I was like, it needs to be perfect. I can't release it. And then I've had a handful of friends that have been really encouraging. That were like, dude, I want to hear new music. I think your voice is important. And so, yeah, I was like, well, you know what? I have a record I could just put out. So why don't I just do that? And then we'll get this thing started again. So that's where I am with the Wealthy West. Yeah. In a couple of weeks, I got this record coming out. I have a new band that's going to be playing with me for a little CD release, or not CD. No one releases CDs anymore, but an album release show shortly after. And then I have this other project. So I'm really like feeling the momentum again, which is really exciting. Yeah.
What's the other project?
The other project is this instrumental thing. Just going by my name, or by B Kinder. But it's something I've always done. So when I was touring a lot, dating back to 2013, I just started like recording this like really super droney ambient stuff because I wanted to have something to listen to fall asleep in the van.
Yeah.
So I would just like, it's like really long, like nobody would ever care to listen to it. Or so I thought. But yeah, that was like the genesis of it.
That's cool.
And of course I always like, Brian Eno was one of my like, another, like his Apollo album had a lot of influence on me for sure. So I've always been like interested in that world. And, but it started because I just wanted something that was really long that I could put on my iPod and listen to and follow. And then I've just been like doing it for a long time. And so I started working on this record that's all kind of like themed for like desert sounds. And it's that one I have not released yet. I released another one before that one that's just an EP called Echopraxia, which, if you don't know, among other things, Echopraxia is when our mirror neurons are firing and someone, for instance, if you yawn, it makes me yawn.
Oh my God. I know what you're talking about. Totally.
That process is called echopraxia. And I read that in an article recently, and I was like, dude, that's like the perfect title for this album of songs that I wrote to make me fall asleep that now I want to gift to you so you can fall asleep. So I think that'll be like a series of like just the really long droney things. But then I also have this other one called Desert Studies that will come out later in the year. That's a little more droney. It's more like thoughtful, so kind of more song based than just like hitting one song, one chord on for
That's
8
so
minutes.
Cool. I like a lot of that stuff, the ambient stuff, and Hammock and Slow Meadow and a bunch of
a bunch of those bands. I love that. I probably listen to that like when I'm working. I'll just pop that on, I'll
exactly.
just something in the background that like moves you, but also is just it's just there.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that stuff. That stuff's incredible. I'm excited to listen to your stuff. So that's exciting. You also you were in a band called Future Canyons. Was that around that time frame as well?
Yeah, that I released that. Okay, so that was just me. It was another side project called Future Canyons, and it was basically just a secret band that was meant only for getting syncs.
Oh, nice.
Because I had a friend that in a band called Welshly Arms.
Oh yeah.
That like had like the biggest song ever. But he had this secret band that was just for syncs, and he told me about it. And he was working with this company called Position Music based in LA, and he introduced me to them. And they were like, yeah, let's do something together. So yeah, that one, like, it was really fun because it was basically like my idea was all the like really poppy stuff that the Rocketboys would be too afraid or too proud to do. I could just do all that, and like I could experiment and just like since it wasn't me, since none of my ego was attached to it, I could just kind of be a little more scientific with it.
Yeah.
But it was really fun. My friend Andy Freeman, who mixed Certain Circles, mixed all this stuff, so it just sounds incredible. There's another thing, I recorded it all in my place. Then he's a drummer, so he recorded the drums at his studio in Nashville and mixed it there. And yeah, it sounds great. Got some great syncs out of it. But that was, I released that in 2020. And now I'm kind of like itching. I wonder if I should do another one because it was really fun. I just want to make music all the time, honestly. And so like, yeah, it's really fun, and there's a lot of great moments that I've gotten to exist within.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Well, I'm going to ask you this. I asked you about the Rocketboys, but Wealthy West, solo stuff. What record are you most proud of, and what song means the most to you?
Well, I think I don't know. There's this one song called Wild Eyes that I have. It's on the Right Regrets, and that song was written kind of about a friend of mine who passed away much too soon. So I think that one is the most meaningful to me. We actually his name was Sunday Ebach, and my son, we named him Jonah Sunday in his honor. And so that one just holds a really special place because it always makes me think of my friend Sunday. I think, I don't know if I think Long Play, just because it got the top iTunes thing.
That's amazing.
That one
Love
is
that.
so cool. But yeah, I'm also really excited about this next one. I'm trying not to hold anything preciously anymore. And just let things exist on their own terms. And I'm really excited about the album that I'm going to release after this next one that is already done. And I'm excited to write another album, it's,
dude, love that.
I just feel like, I'm kind of coming out of this funk. And I don't know, who knows if anybody will hear this stuff, but I have so much music that I've just recorded that no one has ever heard. And I'm excited to let people start hearing it.
I love that, man. That's amazing. Keep at it, dude.
I've
always enjoyed your stuff. And I just, as a fan and a friend, I encourage you to, you do have a voice to be heard, like you mentioned earlier. I totally agree with that. So, I know you don't want that magic 8 ball, man, but what does the future look like for you, buddy?
I wish, man, if I had a magic 8 ball, wouldn't that be so awesome? I mean, the future just looks like me just doing whatever I feel like. and not holding stuff precious, not trying to like bend, like, yeah, I'm just going to start putting stuff out. I have a kid. I'm probably not going to be touring much, at least for right now. But I'll play some shows. Like I was telling my partner Claire, just the other day, I feel like I'm like things are starting to happen again, but this time it's like all on my terms. I'm just gonna do what makes me feel good musically, and if I want to play a show, I'll play a show, but I'm not gonna be trying to starve myself just so I can be a full-time musician anymore,
Yeah.
Just gonna do what I want to do musically and put it out, and not care if people. I don't know. It sounds like, I don't know if that sounds like dumb or not, but yeah, I'm just gonna make music and put it out and be excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I get it, man. And I think that's the right way to do it, and no expectations in terms of you're not going to put your family in a position where I mean, you're going to do what's best for you, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So I get that 100%. Brandon, I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's so cool to reconnect and catch up. It's been a while, and
totally
hoping we get to hang out in the future. That'd be awesome.
Don't tell me we're about to end the podcast.
Yeah, it's time. Unfortunately, I mean, we could do a part two.
I still have
you. You what?
I was saying we still have 8 minutes left according to my clock.
Okay, well.
So you tell me what's next for you.
Next for me, man, honestly, like I've just been so busy working a full-time job. Obviously, I just got remarried.
Gotcha.
7 years ago. So it's been a wild ride, and it's weird. It's weird. I've been married twice, and it's drastically different. So, I'm in a better place mentally, financially, emotionally, spiritually, whatever you want to call it.
Love that.
Yeah, I'm really grateful. And of course, this podcast has been a blessing to me, and just being able to have amazing conversations and talk about jams and tunes and records and life and all that stuff. So I'm just really honored and grateful that I've been able to do that. And so just, I've got a great job, great home, great wife. My kids are adults now, which is, weird still. But no, I mean, I can't complain. I've got a lot of things to be grateful for. Yeah.
Well,
so
let me ask you what other than this one, obviously, what interview are you the most excited about? Which one are you like the most pumped? Either that you got like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got this one, or just like this turned out amazing. Like I can't believe it.
The John Mark one was awesome. Really, really honored he came on and wanted to come on. Mark Solomon from Stavesacre, that was a really, amazing opportunity for me. Man, I hate to say this, but I gotta look because I'm on like 85 or 86 or something absurd.
That's crazy.
I know. No, I mean, like, there's been so many that I'm just really like, having Chad Pearson was amazing too. I was shocked, not that it wasn't be, but I like the connection we had. It was just cool to like talk about his history and what he's
he's so awesome,
a part of. I know he's incredible.
He's so cool, and isn't his voice a lot deeper than you'd expect?
Oh my God, yes, I know.
Every time I talk to him, I'm like, dude.
No, he's like this, yeah. Matt McCarty from Driver 8 was amazing. I don't know if you ever heard them, but they were.
I don't think so,
dude. They were one of the first bands on Tooth and Nail, like Catherine Wheel, 90s.
Okay.
Like, you should check them out. They're amazing bands.
Yeah. Driver 8. Okay.
Yeah, had them on. That was cool. Man, I don't want to cut people out, but like, Aaron Sprinkle I had on. I'm like, Aaron Sprinkle, like a god, producing god.
Yeah.
Just all these bands I grew up listening to. I'm just honored that they even gave me their time. But yeah, I got some cool stuff on the horizon, which is cool. And yeah, man, it's crazy because I don't want to let this consume me to a point where I can't have a, life with my wife. And, at the same time, I try to just do, when I can, when I'm working from home at, like something like today. So I'm really grateful I have a job that allows me to do that. So that's, a good portion of it. But yeah, man, I mean, if I could make money from it at some point, cool. If not, I'm still okay, putting out quality content that people enjoy. So I'm really grateful.
It's great, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been wild, and I had a feeling it would do well, but I didn't have a feeling it would do this well, if that makes sense. So
yeah.
Super
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. And besides that, just getting through life and trying to lose weight when I can because the gut's going.
Man. Yeah.
Dude, this has been so cool. You're so cool.
Yeah. It's been awesome.
Really am honored, that you came on and I'm really looking forward to the music you're putting out and in the future, and always been a fan. So
thanks, man. Thanks so much. Yeah. I'm excited for what the future holds, and it's been awesome catching up and looking at that list of how much freaking music I've put out.
I love that.
What blew my mind. That was actually a very cool moment for me too. So
that's amazing.
Whenever I am like feeling down, I'm going to think about that email I sent you and like, I've done some cool stuff.
That is cool. I mean, that's a good way to look at it, be grateful for the things that you have, and like you are. So Brandon, you rule. I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
All right. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, thank you for tuning in again and again. I really appreciate it. Listener, thank you so much for the kind words, likes, the subscribes, messages, all that. If you'd like to add me on Instagram and Facebook at The Rumors Are True Podcast. If you'd like to leave a review, feel free. Don't hurt my feelings. Just kidding. But anyway, thank you so much again, listener. Brandon, Kinder, thank you so much for your time. So cool to reconnect and get to talk to you about your past. So cool. Keep at it, buddy. I appreciate your time. Got some incredible artists on the horizon, guys, and you know it. Nostalgia is still a heck of a drug.
Oh, hallelujah. Get up right now. Something real powerful for someone. And now listen to this.